Hello, hello, beautiful Earth Angel. Elvia Rowe, founder of AngelsTeach.com, where I teach inspired souls how to connect with their love-based intuition, trust it, so that they can be who they're here to be and do what they're here to do. So welcome to 2019. This is our first video messages from the angels for this year, and it's a special one because today I'm going to be sharing with you a Wheel of the Year card spread. And the angels have been very chatty about this because, let's just put it this way, I feel very heavily guided as I've been preparing for this. And I always feel guided, but there's a lot of emphasis on the messages that I'm going to be sharing with you, the importance of those messages. So I've broken it into 4 quadrants. There is winter, spring, summer, and fall. And I'm going to be using a different deck for each of the seasons. I have been given a word for the year, and it is transformation. So everything that I'm going to share with you here today has to do with the transformation that we are praying for. You know, that world of tolerance, of respect, of love, of harmony, of grace. This is all part of the transformation, what's coming forward for us today. So, what I do suggest you do before we begin, because usually I have you choose a number, and this time I invite you to choose either a number, 1 to 12, or a month, and choose however many of them that you like, but that will give you extra focus for where the angels are emphasizing you to focus this year, either on the message for that month as a theme for you throughout the year, or maybe it's because that particular month it's going to be a milestone, a mile marker for you. So go ahead and choose. I'm going to put a little boundaries around it because usually the ego loves to get in the mix here when we leave it too open-ended. So I'm going to suggest that you choose between 1 and 3 numbers or months. Again, numbers 1 to 12, all of course corresponding to the 12 months of this year. So go ahead and do that, and I'll come back with winter. Let's do this. So as I was guided to choose the decks, I was also guided to choose one card from each of the decks. There's 4 decks, again, one for each of the seasons. And I picked one card from each of the decks to give us a head start and to just create the framework for me before going live with this. Card that came forward, intuitive communication. So really powerful, and the keynote that I was given as part of this, I had to take notes because, as I said, the angels were quite chatty beforehand. Contemplate intentions. So really, really essential this year, this season, this winter, to be communicating with your angels and in very close contact with what feels right in your heart as you contemplate your intentions, not just for this season and this year, but for life, because what you're creating in this moment is affecting what you're creating for your life. So let's go ahead and choose the card for January. I have not chosen the monthly cards, but a card just fell out, which is always, pardon me, relevant. And I'm just asking my angels, they're saying yes, that this is the card for January. A lot of emphasis on this because it fell out of the deck. And for those of you who do a lot of card reading, you know that when something like that happens, you pay attention because the angels are putting extra emphasis on that. So an ocean of love. A lot of darkness in this card. And because of all the darkness, we can see the light that is there. And this feels like it's really a reflection of what's going on in our world right now. As I'm recording this, we're still in the middle of a government shutdown here in the US. There's a lot of drama around all of that. There's a lot of drama in the world in general. Drama, generally speaking, is going to be a dark kind of energy, a lower vibration kind of energy, more ego-based. And we're being asked here this month of January to really focus on what we're reflecting, the light. the light of Source, the light of the divine. And so as we are contemplating our intentions this season, really important to be focused on the higher energies of love, of what really feels right in your heart. And let go of those things that take you away from that, such as watching the news, or watching shows, reading books, listening to other people that bring you down, that are a drag, right? You don't want to be around that because it's taking you out of that focus of light and bringing you into that space of the darkness, which is not where you want to be hanging out. And it's not good for you, it's not good for those around you, and it's not good for the world at large, because we're all connected, right? So what you're experiencing, you're putting out in the world. So as you allow the love, that's what you broadcast to humanity and all of the universe, frankly. So I was wondering when this was going to come forward, because the angels, again, of course, were very specific about how I positioned things. So I have Buddha. Buddha's got my back, right? I've got this light candle orb up here, indigo. And those of you who know me from long ago, done a lot of work with indigo souls. So I feel like that's, very present here. And then I have this drawing that our son did when he was a little boy. He's now 25. And it's this monster that he created. And I love it. It feels like it's not a monster at all. That was his intention. But to me, it feels like a guardian, because, he was a sweet little boy. So his version of a monster is really just a guardian, is what feels right in my heart. So I feel very protected here in this space, and invite you to do the same in your home. So let's see what's on deck for February. February is evolution. Beautiful. More orbs, right? So we had January, February. So this is an orb that is the main focus, but creates a drop. This is the love, right? And as we create the love and focus on that with contemplating our intentions, making sure that they're aligned with love, we create this beautiful outcome. That becomes what we create for February, right? So we see the impact in this card of the work that we're doing in January, We start to see it happening, the fruits of those efforts in February. Now I am hearing it will be a time to double down, because this isn't something that we stop. Like we start that journey of, or for many of you probably just amping it up, that intention to be in that space of love as we're contemplating our intentions. It's something that we do all the time, right? It doesn't stop, it doesn't end. And I am hearing that in February, we're going to need to double down on that. So it spills over from January, it fuels this beautiful creation here, and then to maintain it, we have to double down on those efforts. So there's February. Okay. And I'm going to post an image of each of the seasons together so that you can see them, and then the whole wheel of the year. You'll see those images pop up in this video as we go along. The beauty of technology, right? Okay, so for March, we have Ganesha. And this, by the way, is the Gaia Oracle by Tony Carmen Salerno. And beautiful, beautiful deck. I'll post the links in the comments below so you guys can see where you can check out this deck if you want to learn more. Ganesha, all about moving through obstacles, right? So we feel the love, we double down on it, and we break through obstacles by doing that. Now I'm noticing, and admittedly I don't have my glasses on, but when we see images in cards, they don't have to be the literal representation. And what I'm seeing right here in Ganesha's trunk is a teapot. And I'm hearing community is an important aspect of what we are focused on in March. We're starting to come out of the winter, spring begins in March, And this is a time to start to think about, I'm hearing conscious community. So guided to look at, yes, spring, and we'll be getting to that in just a moment, but the keynote for spring is fierce mindfulness. So having community, we're setting the stage for that to be so coming up in April. So in March, we need to be focused on surrounding ourselves with people who will allow us and even encourage, even insist that we be in the space of conscious community. And by conscious, I mean, having it as a priority to stay aligned with love. All that work that we've done in January and February doesn't get forgotten. In fact, it's a seed for growth. So conscious community here in March. So take a moment and pause the video if you feel guided to do so, and look at these 4 cards that came forward for winter. Intuitive communication as our lead card, with Ocean of Eternal Love for January, Evolution for February, and Ganesha for March. And see what you are picking up with your clairsenses. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are you feeling? What do you just know as you look at these cards all together? What's in store for winter coming through you from the angels? Spring, beginning in April. I'm doing this by month. So spring technically begins with the vernal equinox, but we're talking April here. And the card deck that came forward is this Oracle of the Unicorns by Cordelia Francesca Brabbs, B-R-A-B-B-S. And again, I'll post the links in the comments below for these decks. And I was smiling ear to ear when this card came forward because, as I mentioned, I picked 1 card from each of the decks before recording, and we had intuitive communication from the Gaia Oracle. From the Spirit of the Unicorns, we have intuition. So you think the angels are making a point here? I think so, yeah. Pretty amazing. And the keynote here again is fierce mindfulness. First word that came in for me around this was mindfulness, and then I could feel this other influence coming in quite strongly, and I tuned in and it was fierce. It's about really dedicating yourself to mindfulness and not letting go of that. So let's see what card comes forward in that container for April. Took a little bit of a moment to come forward, and the card is Action. It's interesting that the Action card took a moment to come forward, and I think I know there's a message in that, and it is that it's important to, yes, take action, and it's essential. Remember, intuition was the card that came forward from this deck first. We're talking about mindfulness, that it be guided action. Emphasis, guided action, not just any action. The ego loves to take action. Even being a couch potato is a form of action. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about guided action, making sure that it feels aligned with the heart, aligned with your soul, and right in every cell of your being. I often will tell my students that if you're receiving guidance and it's squishy, like a maybe, it's a no. So there's always a yes, and our job is to really stay aligned with that flow of the yes, because that's our guidance. And our guidance, when we're tuned into it, is never going to be truly squishy. There's always going to be a clear yes. It's a matter of knowing how to connect with it and then trusting that it's the right action for you. So this is Action. I'm feeling actually pretty complete with that this is really about making sure that all of your actions are truly guided. Again, this is the month of April. It'd be interesting if your angels gave you the number 4 or the month of April, that I would say that that's an emphasis for you for this year, right? Important. Really, really important. Okay, May. Passion. I haven't actually seen this card. Woo, isn't that beautiful? So much sacral and solar plexus energy in this, with the orange and the yellow in there. And so May, again, we're talking fierce mindfulness. May, we're going to have to be, I'm hearing, working pretty hard to stay in that place of mindfulness. There are going to be distractions in May. Distractions that take us out of alignment if we let them. And so we have to stay in tune with what makes us passionate, what we've endeavored for this year, the commitment to intuitive communication and taking guided action and all the fierce mindfulness, all of that. We're going to have to work harder in May in order to create that, because there will be some level of disruption, some level of, I just keep hearing distraction. So it could be something that's just on a personal front for you, or it could be a more global thing. Either way, and I don't want to feed into any drama here, so I'm going to stay above that. But either way, just be mindful that you're going to have to work a little bit harder in May, and it's important that you do that, right? This is fierce mindfulness. That's probably why the fierce came in. Nodding my head, yes, that's what the angels do when they're wanting me to say yes. All right, so June. Okay, celebration. So some of that energy that was distracting us and disrupting us in May starts to release a little, and we ease into the beginning of summer, transitioning from late spring. And what popped into my head right before this is that June is the month that we're actually having my father's memorial service, and I will be officiating that. And I was feeling like, okay, well, that's just June for me, and my guidance was to share that because it's a time to celebrate life and all of life. I think sometimes grief can have such a strong grip on us that we forget to celebrate the life that was. And it's hard to, this is just coming in now, it's hard to release the grief if we don't allow ourselves to celebrate what was. So I'm hearing this is about movement, and that it's important. This is interesting. Okay. A lot coming in right now, as you can probably tell. What I'm hearing is that a lot of you may be stuck in grief or stuck in patterns of the past, and that you're having a hard time moving out of that, even by following your guided action, taking guided action. You're having a hard time moving out of that. So for you, if you are feeling a yes on what I'm saying right here, it's really important that you allow yourself to just be, is what I'm hearing. And to be with those feelings, allow them, and then celebrate. Very much like the grieving process, right? So my father passed in November. We have a big span of time in here, longer than usual, between his passing and the service for him in June. So right now is the being space for his loved ones, for me and his loved ones. And then in June, we will have processed all of that as we're doing it in a healthy way, and we celebrate. So it's the grieving, it's the being with those feelings and allowing them to have their natural lifestyle, and then celebrating. And as part of the celebration, they are released. And so, yeah, dwelling a little bit on my personal story really is an example for you, for whatever your version of that is. Allow the grief and those feelings their natural life cycle, and meaning don't let them get stuck, and then allow yourself to celebrate, because that will facilitate the release of those feelings. So June is a little bit of a release from May and those distractions, but there's some healing that's going to need to happen for sure as part of that. And here are the cards all together for spring. We have Intuition as the lead card with action, passion, and celebration. So once again, take a look at these cards all together and notice what's coming through for you. What are you seeing jump out from the cards? What are you hearing? What are you feeling? What do you just know as you look at these cards in anticipation of what's ahead for this spring? Okay, so summer, we are using the Nature's Whispers Oracle by Angela Hartfield and Josephine Wall. Beautiful, beautiful deck. And I have to say, I was a little surprised when the angels wanted this deck because I left it out in the rain last summer. And so the cards are a little bit bent and a little bit warped, but all good, and they were quite insistent. The card that is our overarching theme for summer is breakthrough. Interesting. So we had healing and release that happened in June, and in July, August, and September, we are working on breakthrough. So that's kind of cool. And the theme, the word that came forward for the summer season is purification. And feels very tied to the whole breakthrough concept. So let's see what comes forward for July. Okay, Clear Endeavor. It's a beautiful image. I love the artwork on these cards. Again, this is Nature's Whisper, and I had hoped that I had a second deck so that I could give you one that didn't have all the warps in it, but I've either given them away or sold them to people because they're just so popular. Anyway, so here we have Clear Endeavor for July. And it's taking just a moment for this message to come through. It's actually a winter scene. There's like a snow sleigh and polar bear and winter scene here, evergreens and so forth. So it's an interesting duality with the height of the summer season here in the northern hemisphere. And there's even northern lights up there, the aurora borealis. And what I'm hearing is integration. Okay. So while it excuse me. So while it is summer here in the northern hemisphere, it's also winter in the southern hemisphere. And so for those of you who are watching from down under, this is inclusive of you. Of course, I invite you to take those messages that are coming through here and applying them to your seasons. And yes, Clear Endeavor is about integrating the north with the south. It's about understanding that we are all one. And while Clear Endeavor is certainly an important concept here, the words loosely apply in this particular case. Integration keeps repeating in my head, and it's about understanding that there are so many different realities. There's a different reality for every human being walking this planet. And as we go around making assumptions about what other people's experiences are, we often, if not always, fall into traps. And this is, of course, all ego kind of thing here. But as we're focused on purification, be mindful of the assumptions you're making about other people, because they're never going to be right, ever. And so your job, our job, is to step back from assumptions that we're making about others. Just because it's summer up here doesn't mean it's summer everywhere. Just because I have blue eyes and blonde hair doesn't mean everybody does. And we forget, silly example there, but we forget that our reality is only ours. And we tend to fall into that trap of judgment. So as far as purification for July, just be really mindful of that and careful about the assumptions you're making, and just endeavor, there's the endeavor word, endeavor to align with love and acceptance and tolerance and harmony for all others, no matter who they are, everybody. All right, August. Hope and happiness. I'm feeling some release for the month of August. It feels like it's going to be a floating kind of month where the energies are just sort of more in this space of almost typical summer, sort of yummy feeling, just really flowing. I'm just feeling things just moving in a very natural, gentle kind of way. There's nothing abrupt about this. So the purification piece is just a reminder how important it is to go with the flow, to just allow the energies. Allow is definitely a word I'm hearing a lot for August, and not in a strong way. Just allow the flow. Just be with it. Just enjoy. Really enjoy life. So that's August. Okay, September. And we have pause. That's interesting. Beautiful indigos and greens here. And I'm hearing a lot about the integration of the heart, the throat, and the third eye chakras. Yes. So in human design paradigm that my husband is quite good at, and that I certainly have followed and am a fan of, is this map of energy, of your energy, of each individual's energy. And the idea is that all roads lead to the throat. All energy, no matter where it originates, is looking to be expressed, and that's the throat. So as we see the heart center here, of course the center of love, it's looking to be expressed. And we have the third eye here, which is the center for intuition, coming down, looking to be expressed. So I'm seeing these energies coming up from the heart, coming down from the intuitive self, and being expressed through the throat chakra. And as part of the pause message, and this was interesting because very overlapping with the action card and taking guided action, is so important to pause before speaking. This is all part of the purification process. Really endeavor to allow the heart and the intuitive to integrate together before speaking, before expressing. And it's more than just words, it's also what you write, it's also music, it's anything, art, it's whatever you create. Really look to have that flow of coming up from the heart, down from the third eye, up from the heart, down from the third eye, and pausing as you need to so that it comes out as this beautiful expression of you. Here are the cards for summer with the lead card as breakthrough, and following that, clear endeavor for July, hope and happiness for August, and pause for September. And once again, as you see these cards in a unit, as a unit, what is stepping forward for you from your angels? What are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are you feeling? What do you just know as you look at these cards and contemplate what's ahead for this summer? So for our last season, for fall, I was guided to choose the Sacred Earth Oracle. And you'll notice the emphasis on Earth here because we began with the Gaia Oracle, and then we had the unicorns, and then we had Nature's Whispers, and now we're back to Sacred Earth Oracle. So there's clearly a message around honoring our Earth and connecting with nature as part of another overarching theme for this year. And this deck is by Tony Carmen Salerno and Layla J. Williams with artwork by Helena Nelson Reed. So the card that came forward from this deck to get us started is Fortitude. Really interesting image there, and it does look a little bit like Father Christmas with those antlers and all those animals that are involved here. It definitely feels like the animal realm is a big part of the theme for this autumn as we look at October, November, and December. So the word that came forward for fall is redemption. We are coming into ourselves in I'm hearing a new meeting of self. We are redeeming ourselves by coming into our own. And it will take fortitude in order for that to happen, because that can be difficult when we're swimming in the Muggle world. And realize that as each person awakens, that Muggle world influence shrinks. And there's no judgment here, because we Muggles are beautiful people, beautiful souls as well. They're just not awake yet. And the more of us that wake up, the bigger this community, the Lightworker community, becomes, and the smaller the Muggle world becomes. So anyway, it can be a difficult influence, and it will take fortitude to redeem yourself and really come into your own from all the work that you've done over 2019. So for October, we have formation. And again, I'm feeling a lot of throat energy here. So for September, we were talking about up from the heart, down from the third eye. And here there's this purification that has happened as part of that. Our theme for the summer was purification, right? And here we are with October, this pure, beautiful energy in the throat chakra there. And there's a freedom. There's a freedom that she is feeling. And so October definitely feels, I'm hearing, liberating. There are going to be a lot of souls feeling a new sense of liberation. It could be, I am hearing yes, that it could be that there are a lot of souls transitioning. And that can mean a lot of different things. It can mean passing out of this body. It can mean transitioning into a new version of self, meaning really becoming a new you, really turning over a new leaf, really, that's it. There's no other words. It's becoming a new you. And again, this could be my sense is that there will be a good number of souls actually transitioning out of body. Remember that life does go on. We do live multiple lifetimes, and that death is just a transition point. And while it's difficult for us in human form, I certainly understand that. Realize that there's a much, much bigger reality that we are all just a little teeny, teeny, tiny part of. So purification of the throat, you're redeeming yourself by coming into your own, being the new you. That is October. For November, we have Center. I love this card. Oh my God, this artwork is just incredible. So Center for November. First thing I'm noticing is this headdress that has a piece, the mask, and it goes across her nose. And I'm hearing realization, and it goes over the bridge of her nose. I'm going to pause for just a second because I want to go into this for a moment. So just bear with me here. Okay, got it. This is about integrating, using all of your senses. So there is the olfactory sense. That's what the nose is about. And it's not a clairsense that I typically talk about. I talk about clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, and clairbeing. And I tend to lump the olfactory sense into clairsentience. And really the message here is to understand that your angels are speaking to you in so many different ways, including the sense of smell. I will sometimes wake up in the middle of the night smelling coffee. And I used to blame our kids. I used to think that it was our kids making coffee at like 3 a.m. and I'd come downstairs and I'm like, why were you guys drinking coffee at 3 a.m.? And they're like, we were in bed. And they were. Because this has happened multiple times, even when they're not in the house. I know a lot of folks will smell the cigar smoke of a deceased loved one. I will sometimes smell lilacs or other smoke smudging that's not actually in this reality. So in November, we're being reminded that our angels are speaking to us in so many different ways, and to pay attention, because those subtleties, those subtler things like smell, are some of the more beautiful messages, I find, because that's where some of the more profound things can come in those gentler, subtler kinds of ways. So how we stay centered is really by listening with all of our being, every sense, every part of who we are, paying attention. And that's part of the redemption process for us. Okay, December. Perspective. Oh, what a beautiful card to end the year with. Ah, I love that. Isn't that lovely? And it's an angel. How perfect is that? Oh my God, when this kind of thing happens, it almost makes me want to cry, because it's like such a reminder of how loved we are, how surrounded we are. And of course, we all know that, but when it's just so like bam, it's just really, really special. So she's pregnant. We're at the end of the year, and a new year is coming for us. And the earth is in her hand. It's an angel. There's so much love. The spirals abound. Spirals are all about sacred knowledge, about returning to a new point on the cycle, but having a whole new wisdom about it. And as we redeem ourselves, we live in that space of wisdom. We live in that space of knowing. We live in that space of being in full partnership with our angels as we're getting ready to birth a whole new year. We're looking at 2020. So I am feeling that is complete with one last little thing. These little doves, I'm hearing peace. Peace on earth. And of course for December, that's kind of something that we hear a lot. Peace on earth, goodwill toward men. I'm just asking my angels if that will actually be the experience that we are feeling, and I'm hearing yes, if we let it. And here are the cards for fall of 2019, led by Fortitude, with formation, center, and perspective. So what are you hearing, seeing, feeling, knowing as you look at these cards and look forward to fall of this year? What's jumping forward for you? So a big reading for us for 2019. That was really amazing. And thank you for joining me here today. It's just incredible to see the themes that arise as we work with our angels. And I love this idea of transformation through this process of, contemplating our intentions, having fierce mindfulness, looking to purify and allow the purification process, and then redemption, redeeming ourselves, coming into our own to be who we're here to be, and ending with that card about pregnancy, because we're just creating something all new for 2020, remembering that each step and every breath, we're creating our future. So being conscious of that in every moment. So with that, again, thank you for joining me here today. Please be sure to comment below, share, like, do all those good things to help keep this work going. I invite you to come on over to AngelsTeach.com and see what we have going on over there. So much love to you. I wish you a beautiful and blessed year. Be well, my loves.